Welcome to another episode of Family Gamer TV. I'm with Max Geiger, producer of the Unfinished Swan.
Hi.
We've just been playing it.
Yeah.
It's really quite an unusual game.
Yeah, thank you.
How do you go about describing it to people if they can't actually see it?
Well, the way we describe the first level is we say it's a first-person painter. So you're in an all-white world,
Yeah.
and you're throwing out black paint to uncover the contours and silhouettes of the world in order to be able to navigate through it.
Yeah. So I mean, that's quite a nice nutshell there. But to unpack that a bit, so you start with a completely white canvas.
Yes.
So you can't see anything until you start firing these black or different coloured paint
Yes,
pellets.
you throw out these
explode.
black paintballs, and then they splatter the world, and that's how you're able to see the different objects in combination between the black and the white, the negative space, and the ground.
Yeah, and so how did that idea come about? Because it's quite unusual for a game to not be able to see your surroundings. Everyone's trying to make games look more and more like films, and you've done the opposite, which is fascinating.
So the game actually started as a prototype that our creative director, Ian Dallas, put together in 2008. He was a grad student at USC's Interactive Media Division, and we just had a class where the assignment was to come up with a different project every week, and this is just one of those projects, and so he decided to run with it. So he played with the prototype for a little bit, and after about a year started layering in some story elements, and then a little bit after that we got a deal with Sony, started a company, and that's how the Unfinished Swan came to life.
So that's something you pitched to Sony to say, here's this game, would you support us, or how does that relationship work?
Well, Ian had actually shown the game at Tokyo Game Show's Sense of Wonder Night, and
So Tokyo Game Show is a big video game show in Japan, a little bit like the E3 event that we're at today in Las Vegas.
Right, and so somebody at Sony saw a talk that he gave there and decided to get in touch with him, and that's how the ball got rolling.
Yeah, nice.
And we had also entered the IGF in 2009, so we were there.
And IGF being?
The Independent Games Festival.
Yeah, so because there's quite an uprising of independent game developers, and it's hard to know exactly where to draw the line, but essentially these are sort of smaller, more independent, as the name suggests, who create games which aren't necessarily aimed at sort of the main hardcore gamers and are slightly alternative.
Yes, and I'd definitely say we definitely fit on the smaller end of the spectrum. Giant Sparrow started with just Ian and one other person, and now we're 12 people. Yeah,
we were talking to Chris Hecker of Spy Party, who was doing a similar thing, so and he's just on his own apparently, so it sounds like it's doable, but I think as you move towards a bigger platform, then obviously that you're going to need different skills and a bigger team, I imagine.
Yeah, I can't really comment to what Chris is doing because Chris is a genius and Spy Party looks brilliant from what I've seen. But certainly we found that as we went along, the size of the game that we wanted to make, it required us to have a few more people on hand.
And the relationship with Sony, it sounds like a similar thing to how they were set up with that game company.
It's very similar.
Yeah,
it's
who
almost
created Journey and Flower, which we've looked at on the show.
Yeah, so we have a very similar deal to what they had, and we're actually incubated inside Sony's Santa Monica studio, which is the studio that makes God of War, amongst other things. So there's us as 12 people sort of tucked off behind the kitchen, and then there's 200 of them making Kratos, cutting things up.
Do they know? Do you come across people in the office and they're like, oh, who are you, or what are you doing? And they're like, what's Unfinished Swan?
At this point, we're familiar faces, but most of them do know about us. So and actually, we get to talk to some members of the team about how to best utilize some of the resources on the PS3, and it's actually a very wonderful collaboration.
Yeah. So a key thing here is that it's not just money that Sony are offering; that you've got there's talent and advice and all sorts of things.
It's support. It really is. It's a very good deal from our perspective in that they're giving us a lot of support and incubating us and helping us get up and running both as a company and to help get our game out the door.
The Unfinished Swan will be available via the PSN.
Yes.
So it's a download game. So you, on your PS3, you go to the download section, the PlayStation Store, and then in there you download that game when it's available. In the same way that you had done that with Flower and Journey. So
yes.
And one element of the game seemed to be, because you were limited in how far you could see into the geometry, it felt quite claustrophobic. And I imagine that maybe someone who had a sight impairment, it might be a similar sort of experience because you're only seeing what's in front of you. And was that intentional?
We've had people describe the experience of playing in the all-white level where you're throwing black as being blind. I don't know if we were intentionally, trying to mimic sight impairment per se. But it's certainly an interesting perspective.
So, do you use a controller to play the game?
Yes. So we use both the normal PlayStation 3 controller and the PlayStation Move, and they can be used in combination. or it can be used either controller by itself.
Yeah, so the controller is a dual stick analog
Right,
controls.
the dual stick analog controls are similar to other shooting games on the PS3, although we're not actually shooting or killing anybody, we're just throwing paint around.
Just shooting paint.
Yes, just throwing paint. And with the Move, which is just a controller with the light at the top of it.
And so this is similar to the Wii remote, isn't it?
Yes.
So you hold it and the PlayStation can see where you're pointing.
Although I think I should not have just said yes right there. Sony's pretty big on clarifying that it's not a Wii and that it's it's a little bit more advanced.
Yeah,
it does more
because what the Wii can't do is gauge depth. Because the PlayStation, because of that light up warble on the end, the PlayStation knows how close you are, and lots of games detect that. Is that something that you're going to be using in your game?
Can't say too much about that right now.
Yeah.
But you can play with the Move and just the Move.
Yeah.
So,
So when can we get hold of it?
Hopefully sometime this year.
Cool. We'll look forward to playing it. I look forward to seeing how my other half of my kids enjoy it. It's these sorts of games which I think really cross over. So though my wife doesn't play that many games, she's enjoyed Flower in the past, so perhaps this could be her next game.
All right.
That's all we've got time for on this week's Family Gamer TV, but we'll be back with more soon.